Hello, good day. Welcome to my channel. It's good to have you today. If you're coming to my channel for the first time, please subscribe, turn on the notification, and give me a thumbs up. So today I'll be talking about how to immigrate to Australia as a doctor. So a lot of doctors have chatted me up, some have spoken to me like, hey Emmanuel, how can we come to Australia as a doctor? So I've decided to do this video based on popular demand. So I'm going to take you through the processes. So, alright, to come to Australia, there are 3 pathways for a doctor. Okay, the first pathway is called the standard pathway. The second pathway is called the competent authority pathway. And the third pathway is called the specialist pathway. So for the standard pathway, what you need to do, first of all, is to do the English exam. Okay, IELTS preferably. And there is a standard. You need to score a minimum of 7 in each band of IELTS. There are other exams, English exams, that are acceptable. So, but IELTS is a very popular one. And then you need to do the Australian Medical Council multiple choice question exam, simply called the AMC exam, AMC MCQ. Now, the cost of the exam, the last time I checked on the website, was $2,720 for the AMC MCQ. Just to clarify, the English exam is not a prerequisite to writing the AMC MCQ. So you can do the AMC MCQ and do the English exam irrespective of however you want to do them. So with the AMC MCQ and the IELTS, you can look for a job in Australia. Okay? And the interesting thing is you can look for a job even while you're outside Australia. So the next question is, where can I write the AMC MCQ? Now, the AMC MCQ can be written in London, in India, and in several countries around the world. But unfortunately, there is no center in Africa the last time I checked. So you can go onto the AMC website and get all the details. So these are the 2 exams you need to write initially to be able to look for a job under the standard pathway. So once you're done with the AMC MCQ and you have your English exam, you can go online and just search for Australian hospitals and apply to them. Okay, it's as straightforward as that. So that's the standard pathway. Now, after you've gotten a job and you're in Australia, then you would now think of doing the AMC clinical exam. Okay, so it's either you do the AMC clinical exam or you do what they call the workplace-based assessment. Either of these would suffice. So I'll backtrack a little bit. So once you have the AMC MCQ and you've done your English exam, when you apply for a job in Australia, you would get a job as a doctor, but you'll get a job with what we call a limited registration. Limited registration. Now, while you're working in Australia, you can do the AMC clinical exam or the workplace-based assessment, and then you get the full general registration. Okay, so that's the standard pathway. The second pathway is called the competent authority pathway. Now, the competent authority pathway is for people that have worked in certain countries that Australia recognizes. And these countries include the UK, Canada, the US, New Zealand, and Ireland. So if you've worked in any of these countries and you have registration from any of them, you can apply to come to Australia to work as a doctor. And with that one, you don't need to do any exams. That's the beautiful part of the competent authority pathway. You just apply for the job on the internet, apply to any hospital in Australia, and your chances of getting a job is very high. So with that one, you come in and the registration that you have is called a provisional registration. Okay, and what you need to do, you just need to work for 1 year, and then you get your general registration, which is a full registration. So it's really beautiful. Now the third pathway is called the specialist pathway. Now the specialist pathway is for people that have completed their residency training already, that are specialists or consultants, as we would call them. They can apply to their respective colleges and have their training assessed. Say for example, you are a specialist in, say, you're a surgeon already. You would apply to the Royal Australian College of Surgeons to have your training assessed, and they will tell you at what level they can admit you into their own college. So the specialist pathway is for those already done with their training. So if you jump online to the AMC website, you will see all the details. Now I'm going to go into the nitty-gritty of how to come in to work. The standard pathway is great. However, there is a very high competition from people coming in from the competent authority pathway, i.e. people coming in from the UK. There's a lot of doctors coming in from the UK to Australia, and because they're coming from a competent authority country, they stand a higher chance of getting a job compared to you coming from the standard pathway. So say for example, somebody has worked in the UK for 1 year and he applies to come to Australia. He has a better chance of getting a job than you, who has just done the AMC MCQ and the English exam. Okay, now my personal recommendation based on my experience so far is that a lot of the hospitals in Australia now are requesting for either Australian experience or UK experience. So when you're applying for jobs, you'll hear things like, do you have Australian experience? Do you have UK experience? No. Hence, my recommendation usually now is for people to work in a competent authority country. For example, the UK. You can work in the UK for 1 year, and then apply to come to Australia. That way, you wouldn't have to write any exams in Australia, and you have a higher chance of getting a job. And you don't have to do any exams, like I said. So that would be my recommendation now. To simplify that, what I'm saying is that if you decide to write the PLAB 1, PLAB 2, and work in the UK for 1 year before coming to Australia, it is a better alternative than writing the AMC MCQ and the English exam and coming straight to Australia. Secondly, it is cheaper to do PLAB 1 and PLAB 2, right? And to come through the UK than to do just the AMC MCQ. The cost of the AMC MCQ alone is more expensive than the cost of doing PLAB 1 and PLAB 2. So my recommendation will be to come through the competent authority pathway. 2, there is what Australia calls recency of practice. So because people have told me, hey Emmanuel, how about I come in, do my masters, and while I'm doing my masters, I do the exams, the AMC exams, and then get a job. That's an option as well. A number of people have come in for their master's program, and in the process, they've written the AMC exams and they've gotten jobs, okay? But then there is a concept called recency of practice. Now what that means, recency of practice means how recently did you practice medicine? So if you haven't practiced medicine in 1 year, your recency of practice is 1 year. If you haven't practiced medicine in 2 years, your recency of practice is 2 years. Now, a lot of hospitals in Australia now would not consider you for a job if you've had several years that you've been away from practice. Say for example, you come in here, you're doing your masters, and within the first year you haven't got a job. Within the second year you haven't got a job, your recency of practice is getting longer. So people that are back in Nigeria, interestingly, or Africa, and do their exams there and continue to work as doctors there, and then apply from there to Australia to get a job, they stand a better chance of getting a job compared to someone that has been in Australia doing the master's program for 1 year, 2 years, and they haven't got a job. Okay, to be honest, as a matter of fact, now a lot of the doctors here in Australia that have been here for some time and haven't got a job, a lot of them are writing PLAB 1 and PLAB 2, going to the UK, working for 1 year, and then coming back to Australia. That is just the reality on ground. So, to summarize, there are 3 pathways to come into Australia as a doctor: standard pathway, competent authority pathway, and the specialist pathway. Any of those pathways are great. All you need to do, once you've met the requirement of any of these pathways, just go online, search for Australian hospitals and apply. So, thank you for listening. If you've got any questions, you can put it down in the comments below and I'll address them. Thank you for listening once more, and please subscribe, like, and turn on the notification button. Have a great day.